saying is if you want to make, all right, if you want to have custom code, all you need to do now is create a new component to it. Let me just wait for this. It is still loading. So what I did here is on this test sphere, what happened here? Discard changes. Get custom use attributes. It's complaining because I did something wrong, and that's because I did something that I haven't fit. Oh, I think I know what happens. So we have a script, and this script is not stored inside the scripts folder. So it's trying to build the assembly C# DLL with this script. All the scripts need to be inside the scripts folder. That's where the assembly definition is. And without the assembly definition, it doesn't know it needs to build the script inside inside the custom DLL. That's what was failing here. All right. Okay. So now if I open test sphere, I added a new component that was called rotation. If I recall correctly, I don't know where it is. No, that's not what I want. That's a misrender networking test sphere. I didn't save it. Right. So let's just add the rotation script in here, right? So it added this new script. And then I'm just going to copy, and I'm actually going to do something else. On the sphere here, instead of a sphere, I want to have a cube, or I want to have it in a different shape so we know it's rotated. But we don't really need to. What we can do is we can go to this new component here that is rotation, right? This is a mono behavior now. This is a mono behavior. And here you can have all the Unity interactions that you want. Meaning, just going to copy paste some code from the actual Unity documentation, which is you give it some angles, right? And then on update, which is a function that is being it's there, right? So on item, on update, what we want is we want to just transform the object. So we can do this transform rotate x angle. So now, despite we may not be able to see it, well, we may be able to see it somehow. And then space shelf, the coordinate space in which to operate. Okay, so that's going to rotate an object when it's spawned in itself, right? That's basically all we needed now. You can have whatever functionality you want in here. This has nothing to do with the actual game now. This is all Unity stuff now. If we go back to our test sphere prefab, it should have angles, right? So we want to rotate on one angle, we want to rotate on another angle. And then that's going to be too fast, but that's fine. Right. So that's the rotation we want. We export that. We're going to need to close the game for that to load. So basically, all you need to do now is in this new custom script that you add to the object, you put your game logic in there. You put your awake, you put your update, you put whatever you want. You find whatever references that you want. You can have it doing whatever you need. That's where you actually add all your logic to the object. So if you make it flying, all you need to do is add a custom mono behavior to the object that would actually handle the flying. Now, if you want to be player control flying, that's different because that requires interacting with the user input, which is being handled by the game manager for something else. So that would be a different thing. But if you just want an object to move autonomously, all you have to do is just add a custom component now with all your logic inside. That would do. That's what actually will have your tomato flying or whatever. But that's Unity programming. No, that has nothing to do. Well, it may have something to do with the game as to how the object finds the players, how the object knows it's flying, hovering above the ground 2 meters, things like that. But I mean, you need to program this as a Unity thing. That's what you need to do right now. So test the sphere now. The idea is this one should rotate. There you go. It's rotating on all 3 axes. If I pick it up and then I drop it here, it will still rotate. Despite it's not gonna move. Hang on. Stay there. What if I drop it from above. Hang on. There you go. So this is actually moving without the player interacting with it. And this is because we have added a script here, which is a custom component that adds rotation during the update function, which is Unity programming. So that's basically your game logic now should go into your custom component doing whatever you want to do. Don't need to inject into the actual tomato class, right? Or things like that, unless you want to behave like a tomato, but something different than the tomato. If you want to have this find in the player, you want to have it as an enemy NPC, things like that, you just add a custom class to it and then let it work as a custom class. You don't need to define a single class for everything if you don't want to. That actually will help you if you want to have different objects, but use the same NPC or enemy kind of component. Then all you need to do is just drag the same script to all your NPC drones, and they will all behave the same way. And that's it. That's how you modify and make it fly. You just add a custom script that does all your logic in there. Does this explain number 5 now? Actually, hang on. Save game. Save world. No errors. Leave session. Test tomato. There is your tomato, which is still flying, by the way. So I think that actually answers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Any more questions? I'm gonna mute because I have coffee I want to drink. Object. You can modify with a normal WebInX plugin. You don't need any of these. Yeah, you don't need any of these to actually modify a vanilla object. You can do it straight away with WebInX and Harmony without all the hassle of this, but you can still do it, right? So, I mean, don't get me wrong, you can still do it, and we are doing it. We are actually modifying the game because when we actually start the starting script attaching the prefabs, we are finding references to the game, which is probably all the prefabs and all theme prefabs, and then the OR instance, the ingot instance, and we are modifying things in there. Even here on the lighting, this one is actually modifying this game object, this prefab, to add the lighting as thin light, so the game knows they are lights and they have to turn on and off. I mean, we're already modifying game items, vanilla game items in here in the starting script. You can just have more items defined in here, so you modify more vanilla objects. But you don't need any of all this hassle to modify vanilla objects in any way. I mean, the thing is, I have only added a sphere, but you can have your custom models, custom visual effects, and things like that. I mean, I would not really understand the need to modify a vanilla object unless you want to change the gameplay of the object. So let's say you have the same way. I mean, you already have Harmony, I believe, in the interface. If I recall correctly, hang on. If I recall correctly, the actual interface library. I'm not sure, but let me check. So the actual interface, where is it? No, it's in stationary mods. This is the interface, right? Yeah. So this one, I believe is referencing, I'm not sure it references Harmony, but I think it did. I think I did. No, I didn't. I did not. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult. What you can do is you can just throw harmony in here. The harmony DLL, the same harmony that Bepinex is using, which is going to be Bepinex core harmony DLL. And I believe we need harmony 20 as well. Let's just try with harmony for now. So we throw harmony in here, right? Which is a new DLL. And if there is no errors, then we're good. If there is errors, it will mean that this harmony library is looking for something else. Maybe a different version of monocecil, maybe something like that. I'm not sure. This is already compiling now, so we need to give it time. I'm not sure whether the step, I don't think assemblies is a good spot for that. It should go maybe into here, to stationary mods. So just don't, not to miss the whole thing. Right, so this one is actually now complaining about, no, this is the old error. All right, so zero harmony is looking for monocecil 10.4, but the one we have is 10.3, which is a kind of a problem because it's looking for a more updated version. There are a few things you can do here if you want to. This will still require or be a bit more complicated than I initially thought, but basically, let me tell you what you can do here in case you want to use harmony already, which you can, but you're gonna need to do a few changes here. All right, so let me use this folder. So in downloads, in the Stationeers one that has all this stuff, right? Stationeers master, which is this one. You can actually open the project. It's the full source code of the Unity framework as well. And as you can see here, you can either use Inake or whatever. It's using Cecil here, right? And then it is using, I believe, the interface. It uses Unity Engine Core module. No, this one isn't using. Which one is the plugin one? The plugin one is the one that uses references. It will have Bepinex. So what you need to do is you need to add, probably if you don't want to have it as a single DLL, what you need to do is you need to add a reference to harmony in the interface, or maybe in the editor one, because that's the one that is actually using monocecil. And then the thing is, I'm using this version of monocecil here, which is 10.3, I believe. And that's something that you can probably change. Let me double check one thing. This is the main folder. This is the libs folder. This is where Bepinex is. This is where you actually would drop harmony DLL, which I'm not going to do because I mean you can do reflection without harmony anyway, so there's really no much point in that. And then in packages, I believe I have here where I have monocecil 10.3, so you may just want to drop the newest version of monocecil instead of 10.3, 10.4, which would still work in Unity. Just a matter of updating this project, this Visual Studio project. I may actually tackle that once I fix a few books that the actual project has right now, like this a constant redraw. When you click the assemblies, it has a constant redraw that actually slows down the whole thing, which is very annoying for me. I believe this is more urgent for me to fix than changing or adding harmony to the project. But I mean, at some point after this fixes, then I can probably just update the monocecil to use the same version as Bepinex is using. But not now. I mean, don't ask me for it now because you don't really need this to do that. You can actually just have a Bepinex specific mod with harmony to do any changes that you want to do in other assets in the game. Like there's no real need for all this setup of Unity editor and everything to use harmony on Bepinex. That's really no need for that. This is only, or this is intended to actually import all the all the references and everything at once, not having to mangle with vanilla items in the game. More questions? So price cast doesn't have any question. That's annoying. He always has 200 questions. Can I replace a texture or model on vanilla object? Yeah, you can. All you have to do is find the right prefab, which is done by finding prefabs. There's probably some code somewhere, maybe not in this one, but some code somewhere. You use resources, find whatever prefab you need to find. Give me a second. I think I do even have some code around that does that. And then all you have to do is just find the right prefab, find the right component of that prefab, and then replace whatever you need to replace. If I recall correctly, hang on this mod template that I'm doing with all the assets, there is one asset that is the paintable one, right? I believe prefab instant test paintable, paintable. Right, so this one has code to find the material inside the game, for example. Discussion this. Right, so this one, because this is a paintable material, it has a referent on the paintable material to this material, right? But the actual code in this one, I'm not sure where this is. I believe it is in the script of this paintable one. It has code that goes through materials. Yeah, it finds all the objects of one type in the resources, right? Find all the objects of type material, but you can actually find all the objects of type prefab. And then once you find an object of that prefab, you check whether it's the prefab that you want. And then you get whatever component you want and you replace whatever thing you want. So if you actually have a material, you can replace the texture of the material that goes for that particular object. Now the problem is when an object is using a shared material, like most of the materials are shared by all the objects, they all would have either white, green, yellow, or something like that. If you change the texture of a shared material, you are changing the texture for all the objects, not just one object. What you may need to do is create a new material, change the texture, and then copy everything else from the original material and apply that material only to that vanilla object. But if you change the texture on a shared material, you're changing the texture for all the objects in the game that use this same material. That's something you may need to be careful with, which is something that we can actually see in here. Let's say canned tomato. Is it canned? Yeah. So canned edamame, right? If you go to the mesh render, where the material are, right, you will find a list of materials here, which is this one, canned edamame. This is specific to this particular object, right? Because this material has a different label on the can than the tomato can or the potato can or whatever. But if you look for some other thing, like let's say a canister, oh, it's not there, it's here. What? Oh, this is here, man. The canister, right? There's going to be a lot of canisters. The empty, the oxygen one, the pollutants one. They all have pretty much the same material, which is a big difference because they are all using one of the shared materials, which is the color white material. Now, this color white is the same material for everything that is paintable that is white. So if you change the color of this material, you're basically changing everything that is being painted white is now going to be with that material. And then there are other materials as well that are shared, which I kind of collected here on the test project, which is no material here shared. This color white emissive, and then there is this spaceship diff material. This is being used by a lot of different assets in the game, which has the standard color palette for Stationeers, right? If you change that texture of this material, you are changing the colors or all the items, basically all the items in the game, because they are using either this one or they use the paintable version of that one, which is it has this set of colors on the top, and then the rest is just very similar to this. The orange one is basically the same color palette, but it has some predefined tones of orange. And then the green one is exactly the same. Well, I just got the bad one, but basically it's exactly the same, but with a different set of blues, set of greens, set of blacks. It's basically the same. This is the most used material in the game. Pretty much everything that is non-paintable is using this material. So when you mean changing a texture, it can be quite complicated. I mean, you can do it, but you need to find, or you maybe need to create your custom material for that. You cannot just change the texture of a shared material. That's what I was trying to say. All right, I think we're done. We don't even have more time, right? Or do we still have time to do something else? I don't know, man. You guys let me know. So the whole thing now, you just need harmony. I can't believe it. Just to be clear, if you want to do reflection, you do not need harmony. You can do reflection without harmony. And I'm actually doing reflection without harmony right now. If you go to your to the main class that we run, right? The drone mode class, which is this one. You see how there is reflection here? It actually find fields, which is non-public. This is a private field. Static references a static, and then you get the field info, and then you convert that as a dictionary and so on. No, harmony is just an interface to do reflection in the game. It is nothing, it's not even needed to do a mod and have custom code running on a Unity game. Harmony is a way to make reflection kind of easier, more accessible and whatnot, but it's really not needed at all to modify a custom asset that already exists in the game, or a function or a class or something like that. It's just a different method to do reflection in the original DLL. It's not required. There is no real need to use harmony at all. Harmony it does make things, I was going to say easier, but depending on what you're doing, it's not really adding any or making it any more easier than it is, because so here I'm getting two references of two static items that are private in the game, and then I'm making them kind of public so I can modify them. I get the references. This is a static, this is private in the DLL, and I'm just using reflection to get access to this. So there's really no need for harmony. Even to change this stuff that is private, there's no real need for harmony to do this. Now, what harmony facilitates is that with just a few brackets, you can hook in the entrance and exit of a function, like the prefix and the postfix of functions, but you can do that as well without harmony. Just harmony syntax makes it simpler somehow, because all the background things that harmony does when you just specify prefix. But it's just a convenience, it's not a requirement. It's just more a convenience. Now you're used to do a reflection with harmony that you will really think that you need harmony, but this telling you there's no real need for harmony. We can do that, as I said. Happy to just add harmony to the thing, but I mean, not right now. It's not even one of my priorities. Another thing we can do, hang on, is look if there is any harmony version that goes with Cecil. Was it 10.3? Yeah, was Cecil 10.3. Trying to find the harmony project. Give me a second. Yeah, here we have harmony, right? That's harmony. And now, why it doesn't even have releases? Because that's not the original harmony. Or is this a fork of something? Hang on. Where's this harmony now? Okay, no worry, man. That's okay. This is the original harmony. Right, so this one has releases. And now, is there here a version of harmony that works with CECL 10.3? It doesn't say. It says it works with net.5. It doesn't say, but another thing you can do is probably just maybe build harmony for monoCECL 10.3, and that's still basically the same, right? That would actually be the actual same of changing my project to use 10.4, which is actually probably a better idea, but I'm saying it's not a priority for me right now. There's a book that I need to fix first, and then there is a mod that I want to have finished first before I do actually need harmony. If it really stops you not having harmony on this same DLL, so that's the thing. I mean, you can still use harmony as a normal Bepping plugin without any of this. So if you really need harmony for something, do it on the other. Oh yeah, but if you want to change the texture with your custom texture, that's okay. You know what? You can still import textures and materials in the game with this project, with the Unity project, and then you can have an additional DLL on the same folder with just your harmony stuff. So here on Bepping plugins mods, stationary mods. Here we have the draw mod, right? Without DLL. You can still throw another DLL probably here, and harmony. I believe Bepping will still find it out. I'm not sure. I will still find it out. You don't need to drop it here. You can just drop it in here as well. And you can access the resources from your mod pack, from this mod, from the other DLL, because they have been loaded by Unity as a resource file. So the materials, texture, prefabs, and everything will still be available as a resource. You can use Unity Resource API to have access to those. And then on your DLL in here on Bepping plugins, you can actually find those materials, those prefabs, those textures, whatever you need to find as a resource. You just need to do resource load and whatever the name of the resource you want to load. That should still work. Because this one, what it's doing is adding one more resource to the scene manager. This one interacts with the scene manager of the Unity runtime, and it adds one more resource file to the scene manager. So when the game does resource load, it will actually go through all the resource files, the game ones and the ones added here by the mod. All right, so no more questions then. More questions later, once you reach the Unity editor. All right, then. I think we can wrap this one up here then. Where did I have the harmony here? There you go. Oh, geez. All right. You don't need this project at all, right? You have all the files and everything that kind of bright and mangled with. Mechanic, that was for you. You don't even need the objects in the scene either. Right, okay. Basically, what I'm asking is, do you have this main loading class that does all the asset loading and parsing, which is this is this is the same for all the mods, right? One of the things that I was considering is move this class to the main plugin object instead of having it in every mod here. Move it to this DLL, the one that does the plugin loading. Yeah. All right, hang on a second. I can't zip this one, right? Hang on a second. I'll show you. Can't zip this one. All right. So that's basically, can get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of this, get rid of the lock, and then all these windows I don't need, right? So the drone mode. This is what you want me to pack and zip, and send it to you, right? For just 2 C files that are less. Yeah, that's a big problem. So all you needed right now are these 2 files, which is the drone mode file, which is the loader class, and then the tester sphere file, which is your kind of tomato copy thingy, right? And then maybe the custom wireframe, which is the one that replaces the shader on loading. So yeah, all right. Okay, then I can get rid of this one. Okay. If you have these 3 files, then that's fine. Then you can probably replicate the whole thing. Otherwise, it's just a mess. I mean, 1.5 for the project is just too much for me. I would rather, don't even save, do not need it. Holding on. All right, then. Done. Yeah, totally. I mean, if I had a copy of every example thingy I did in Unity, I would need just terabytes for this. Once the project is expanding, it's actually super big. All right, then. Good luck. Any questions? Go on Discord. It's probably better if we just have this published somehow, like we want everyone, but because ideally we want 2 or 3 or 4 mods working together, so we know which is actually shared by all the mods. So we move that to the DLL of the loading, and then we can get rid of that code. Like the initialization code can probably just be something on the Bepinex plugin side. It doesn't need to be on the mod side. But I'm not quite sure yet what's better for everyone. So I was doing things the way I would actually do, not the way other people would interact with. That's why probably some of the code that is now on the mod, on the asset bundle mod, can go into the Bepinex plugin instead, which for that, then you wouldn't even need to have any code on your loading class, because the plugin, when loading your resource, will actually do all the asset expanding and adding the ores to the ore list, adding the ingots to the ingot list, things like that. But I don't know. This thing. So right now it's only me, and because I know what I'm building, I don't really have any issues with other people's code or crashes and anything. So basically, I just got a list of ideas here about different types of items, and then I start working on this. This is the actual habitat I'm working on. I want to make this into livable habitat. And then I have pretty much one of each type of items. I'm missing still a plant. I'm missing a network electrical device. I'm missing a pipe or an atmospheric device, things like that. The power tool is the only one that actually has some electric stuff on it, because this one is a battery powered item. So it has functionality when the battery is inserted, but doesn't really have any use. I was thinking about maybe making a flamethrower where you have to put a canister with fuel and then a battery for the ignition, and then it will actually throw flames, which is what a flamethrower is. That kind of can highlight both an atmospherics unit that messes with gases, and then electric powered unit that needs power to work and can be switched on and off, things like that. That was an idea, but I'm not sure whether it's good to have them totally separated or both of them in one single device. Because when you have things separated, it's clear like what you need to build or not, like all the interfaces that you need to complete. When you have a device that has different types of functionality, it requires a lot of different functions to work well, and then it may get messy as to what do you need to provide as interfaces, unless the people knows what they're doing. People know how to program, how to work with interfaces. People that knows Unity, they will probably don't need any of that. Yeah, I know. 3 minutes. I'm just trying to get some more hints inside since we already have 3 minutes. All right. Then more questions on Discord. And we wrap this one up here. All right, man. Good luck. Good luck, man. Let's see how you come up with your drawing thingy. I'm really keen to see. All right.